I will win, not because the path is easy, not because the world is fair, but because I have decided. And once a decision is made with absolute certainty, the universe has no option but to move aside. I am not here to test my luck. I am not here to hope. I am here to dominate my own mind, because the moment I conquered doubt, the war was already over. I know this truth. Every great achievement begins as a burning desire, not a wish, not a dream whispered quietly, a desire so intense it refuses to sleep, refuses to rest, refuses to accept excuses. I feed that desire daily. I protect it from negativity. I starve fear and overfeed belief. Because belief, when repeated, becomes faith, and faith creates results, I focus, no scattered energy, no divided attention. While others chase comfort, I chase mastery. While others complain, I calculate. Every minute wasted is an opportunity given to someone else, and I refuse to hand over my future. My mind is locked on one target, and focused energy always breaks resistance. Obstacles do not scare me. They reveal who I am. Temporary defeat is not failure, it is instruction. Every setback sharpens my strategy and hardens my will. I persist when others quit, and that alone separates winners from spectators. I do not stop when I am tired. I stop when I am done. I discipline my actions, even when motivation is silent. I act with purpose, think with clarity, and move with confidence. My thoughts are not random, they are chosen. I speak victory, I see victory, I act in alignment with victory, because the mind accepts what it repeatedly hears, and mine hears only one command: move forward, I will win. Not someday, not by accident, but by design. Because I believe before I see, I act before I feel ready, and I persist until results surrender. This is not arrogance, this is certainty. And certainty is unstoppable. Decision is power. Once decided, doubt is banned. The moment I decide, hesitation dies. There is no second voice in my head, no backup plan, no escape door left open. I do not negotiate with fear after I make a decision, I cut it off. Because every great victory in history started the same way, with a human being who decided and refused to undecide. Weak minds keep options open. Strong minds lock the door and move forward. When I decide, my energy changes, my posture changes, my thinking changes. The world starts responding differently because clarity is loud. Confusion whispers. I am done whispering. I choose my path with full awareness that obstacles will appear, pain will come, and comfort will disappear. Still, I decide, and that decision becomes law inside my mind. Doubt is not allowed to stay where a decision has already been made. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they keep revisiting the decision. They decide today and question tomorrow. They move forward and then look back. That hesitation leaks power. I do not leak power. I contain it, sharpen it, and release it only to ward my goal. Once my mind is aligned, nothing external can break it. I understand this truth clearly. The mind follows authority. If I command it with certainty, it obeys. If I speak with hesitation, it rebels. That is why I speak to myself with conviction. I do not say I will try, I say I will win. Trying is a weak agreement with failure. Winning is a clear order. Focus is my weapon. I do not allow distractions to rent space in my head. Noise exists, but I don't listen. Opinions exist, but I don't need permission. I respect time too much to waste it on confusion. Every day I wake up knowing exactly what I am building and why I must build it. Purpose eliminates laziness. Clarity kills procrastination. I expect resistance. I welcome pressure. Pressure does not crush me, it reveals me. When things get hard, that is not a signal to stop, it is confirmation that I am moving in the right direction. Easy paths do not create powerful people. Resistance is proof that growth is happening. I do not run from discomfort. I train inside it. Temporary defeat does not define me. It educates me. I study my setbacks without emotion, extract the lesson, and move forward stronger. I do not take failure personally, but I take responsibility completely. Excuses are expensive. They cost time, energy, and destiny. I refuse to pay that price. My discipline is quiet but ruthless. I do the work when nobody is watching. I show up when motivation disappears. I act even when results are invisible. Consistent action compounds into unstoppable momentum. I trust this process because it never lies. Small actions done daily defeat massive dreams done occasionally. I guard my thoughts aggressively. I do not allow negative images to replay in my mind. What I repeatedly think becomes what I eventually live. So I choose thoughts that build strength, courage, and certainty. I visualize success not as fantasy, but as preparation. The mind must arrive before the body can follow. I understand that belief is not a feeling, it is a practice. I reinforce it daily with action. Each disciplined step becomes evidence. Each completed task strengthens faith. Confidence is not gifted, it is earned through execution. And the more I execute, the stronger I become. I am not competing with others. I am competing with my previous limits. I refuse to stay the same. Growth is non-negotiable. Comfort is the enemy. The moment life feels too easy, I raise my standards. I demand more from myself because I know what I am capable of becoming. I will win because I refuse to quit. I will win because I decided and never looked back. I will win because my focus is locked, my desire is burning, and my actions are aligned. This is not motivation, force that refuses to accept limits. Talent can be wasted, luck can disappear, and background can be an excuse, but burning desire wakes up every single day demanding progress. It does not wait for perfect conditions, it creates conditions. When desire is strong enough, it bends circumstances, breaks resistance, and rewrites personal history. I have seen talented people quit and average people win, and the difference was never intelligence or opportunity. It was hunger. Talent gets you noticed, but desire keeps you moving when no one is watching. Luck may open a door once, but desire knocks until the door breaks. Background may explain where you came from, but desire decides where you are going. And I am not driven by comfort. I am driven by hunger that refuses to be satisfied. Burning desire is not noise. It is quiet, relentless pressure inside the mind. It does not beg for validation. It does not need applause. It survives in silence and proves itself through action. While others talk about dreams, desire wakes up early and stays late. It trains when motivation disappears. It moves even when confidence feels low. That is why it wins. Desire turns obstacles into instructions. When I hit resistance, I don't ask why me, I ask how through. Problems do not weaken burning desire, they sharpen it. Each setback adds fuel instead of fear. Every delay strengthens patience. Every failure deepens commitment. That is why those driven by desire become dangerous over time. They don't stop, they evolve. Talent often creates ego, and ego creates comfort. Desire destroys comfort. It keeps the mind restless, unsatisfied, always reaching higher. I do not rely on what I am naturally good at. I rely on what I am willing to suffer for. Effort, repeated daily, outperforms gifted ability used occasionally. Desire ensures the effort never stops. Luck favors movement, not waiting. Burning desire creates motion. While others wait for a sign, desire becomes the sign. It pushes me to act before certainty, to move before confidence, to commit before guarantees. And once I am in motion, opportunities appear. Luck looks like coincidence from the outside, but it is often just preparation meeting persistence. Background only has power if I give it permission. Where I started does not define my ceiling. My past is information, not identity. Burning desire refuses to carry old labels forward. It does not accept inherited limits. It builds a new standard and lives by it. I am not here to repeat history. I am here to replace it. Desire disciplines the mind. It controls thoughts, filters distractions, and demands focus. I do not scatter my energy chasing everything. I channel it into one direction until results surrender. Desire simplifies life. It removes unnecessary choices and replaces them with one clear mission, and clarity is strength. When I am tired, desire speaks. When I doubt, desire reminds me why I started. When progress feels slow, desire keeps the pressure on. It does not allow retreat. It does not entertain excuses. It does not negotiate with fear. It commands forward movement and accepts no alternative. Burning desire creates belief, and belief creates action. I do not wait to feel ready. Desire does not ask for readiness. It creates it through repetition. Each action strengthens confidence. Each step builds momentum. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes normal. That is how transformation happens. I understand this. Desire must be fed daily or it fades. That is why I guard my vision. I protect my goals from negative voices, including my own past doubts. I rehearse success mentally and pursue it physically. I stay connected to the reason I refuse to quit. Desire survives when purpose is clear. I will not be outworked. I will not be outlasted. I may not be the most gifted, the luckiest, or the most privileged, but I am the most committed. And commitment fueled by burning desire is unbeatable. Talent may impress. Luck may surprise. Background may explain. But burning desire decides. And I have decided to win. Focused mind creates unstoppable momentum because energy that is not scattered becomes power. The moment the mind locks onto one clear target, everything else loses importance. Noise fades, doubt weakens, confusion disappears. Focus is not about doing more, it is about eliminating everything that does not serve the mission. And once the mind is disciplined to move in one direction, momentum becomes inevitable. Most people live mentally divided. They want success, but they also want comfort. They dream big, but think small. That split drains strength. A focused mind does not argue with itself. It chooses a direction and commits fully. No second guessing, no emotional backtracking. Every thought, every action, every decision pulls in the same direction. That alignment creates force, and force creates speed. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. When attention is concentrated, even small actions carry weight. Repetition compounds. Consistency accelerates. What seems slow at first becomes unstoppable over time. Momentum is built quietly, day after day, until suddenly results appear and people call it overnight success. But there is nothing sudden about it. It is the natural outcome of sustained focus. Distractions are expensive. They steal time, weaken discipline, and reset momentum. That is why I guard my attention aggressively. Not everything deserves my reaction. Not every opinion deserves my energy. I choose what enters my mind because what enters my mind shapes my direction. Focused people are selective, not reactive. A focused mind does not chase motivation. It operates on standards. I do not wait to feel inspired. I move because movement itself creates clarity. Action sharpens focus, and focus sharpens action. That cycle feeds momentum. Once it starts, stopping becomes harder than continuing. That is real power. Focus transforms pressure into progress. When Chalet, NGEs appear, a scattered mind panics. A focused mind adjusts. It does not dramatize difficulty. It analyzes, adapts, and advances. Problems become part of the process, not reasons to quit. Focus keeps emotions under control and decisions under authority. Momentum rewards patience. In the beginning, effort feels heavy and results feel distant. That is where most people quit. A focused mind understands the delay. It trusts the process without needing immediate validation. It stays consistent when progress is invisible, and that patience becomes an unfair advantage. I do not multitask my destiny. I refuse to dilute my effort across too many directions. Success demands obsession, not balance. Balance is for maintenance. Growth requires intensity. When I focus deeply, I grow rapidly. When I grow rapidly, confidence follows. Confidence then fuels even greater focus. Focus is also discipline in thought. I do not allow my mind to replay failure or rehearse fear. I train it to visualize execution, not outcomes. I focus on the next action, not the distant reward. One step done with excellence creates the next. That is how momentum stays alive. People underestimate the power of staying locked in. They quit because boredom arrives before results. A focused mind pushes through boredom. It understands that mastery is built in repetition, not excitement. The grind is not punishment, it is preparation, and preparation separates amateurs from professionals. I measure progress by effort, not applause. I do not need constant recognition. Focused momentum does not announce itself. It shows up quietly, daily, relentlessly. Over time, results speak without introduction. That silence is dangerous to competitors because they never see it coming. When momentum is built, confidence becomes automatic. Decisions become faster. Doubt loses its grip. Action feels natural. That is when people say you are unstoppable. But unstoppable is not talent. It is trained focus over time. I choose focus because it simplifies life. One direction, one priority, one standard. Everything else is noise. And when the mind is free from distraction, it becomes powerful beyond measure. A focused mind creates unstoppable momentum. And momentum carries me forward whether I feel ready or not. I stay locked in. I stay disciplined. I stay moving. And I do not stop. Persistence turns temporary defeat into fuel because nothing has the power to stop a person who refuses to stop themselves. Defeat is only heavy when you sit in it. The moment you stand up and move forward, it loses its weight. What breaks most people is not failure itself, but the decision to stay down. I do not stay down. I study, I adjust, and I continue. Temporary defeat is part of the process, not the end of it. Every setback carries information, not judgment. It shows what needs to be strengthened, not what should be abandoned. Persistence transforms loss into instruction. Instead of asking why it happened, I ask what it dema. NDS from me next. That question keeps me in control. Most people quit too early. They stop one step before momentum turns in their favor. They confuse delay with denial. Persistence understands timing. It knows that progress is often invisible right before breakthrough. The pressure before success feels exactly like the pressure before failure, and only persistence knows the difference. Persistence is not loud, it is not dramatic, it does not seek sympathy. It simply continues. When motivation fades, persistence remains. When confidence weakens, persistence holds the line. It does not depend on emotion, it depends on commitment. That is why it wins when talent hesitates and luck disappears. Defeat tests identity. It asks one question: who are you when results do not cooperate? Persistence answers without words. It shows up anyway. It executes anyway. It refuses to allow circumstances to dictate effort. And that refusal builds inner strength that no success alone can create. I do not personalize setbacks. I do not let them rewrite my self-image. Temporary defeat does not mean I am defeated. It means I am still in the game. As long as I persist, the outcome remains undecided. That truth alone keeps hope alive and energy moving. Persistence requires patience, but patience does not mean waiting. It means working without immediate reward. It means trusting effort before evidence appears. Many people need proof before they commit. Persistent people commit before proof exists, and by the time proof arrives, they are already ahead. Every time I persist through discomfort, my tolerance expands. What once felt impossible becomes normal. Resistance trains resilience. Pressure sharpens focus. The very things that were meant to slow me down become the tools that push me forward. That is how defeat becomes fuel. Persistence eliminates excuses. Excuses look logical in the moment, but they poison momentum. Persistent minds do not argue with discomfort. They accept it as the price of progress. Pain is temporary. Quitting is permanent. I choose temporary pain every time. There is power in staying when leaving feels justified. Anyone can quit when things fall apart. Very few continue when the reward is uncertain. Persistence separates those who want results from those who merely like the idea of them. Wanting is emotional. Persisting is intentional. Persistence also builds faith, not blind faith, but earned belief. Each time I continue despite difficulty, I prove to myself that I am reliable, that self-trust becomes unbreakable. When you trust yourself to keep going, fear loses its authority. Success rarely comes from one massive effort. It comes from many small efforts that refuse to stop. Persistence stacks those efforts until results have no choice but to appear. Time is neutral. It favors the persistent because they are still standing when others have exited. I expect defeat. I do not fear it. I prepare for it. I understand that setbacks are checkpoints. NTS, not dead ends. They test my seriousness. And every time I pass the test, I move closer to the version of myself that cannot be stopped. Persistence turns temporary defeat into fuel, and I burn that fuel daily. I do not retreat. I do not reset my standards. I move forward with lessons, not excuses. And as long as I persist, the story is not finished. Faith in self must be stronger than fear of failure, because fear only has power where belief is weak. The moment belief rises, fear starts shrinking. Fear speaks in questions, doubt, and hesitation. Faith speaks in decisions, action, and commitment. And in every defining moment of life, one of them will lead. I choose faith. Fear of failure is natural, but living under its control is a choice. Failure is an event, not an identity. Fear tries to convince the mind that one mistake defines everything. Faith understands that mistakes are part of the process. I do not need guarantees to move forward. I need belief that I can handle whatever happens next. Self-faith is built through action, not imagination. I trust myself because I show up. I trust myself because I continue when it gets uncomfortable. Each time I face difficulty and do not retreat, faith grows stronger. Fear loses ground when it is challenged. Avoidance feeds fear. Action starves it. Most people wait until fear disappears before they move. That moment never comes. Faith moves first and lets courage catch up. I do not need to feel confident to act. I act and confidence follows. This is how strength is built, not by thinking about winning, but by stepping into the arena repeatedly. Fear exaggerates loss. Faith focuses on growth. Fear asks, what if it goes wrong? Faith asks, what if I become stronger? Fear imagines embarrassment. Faith imagines mastery. One keeps you small. The other pushes you forward. I decide which voice gets my attention. Self-faith requires responsibility. I do not blame circumstances for my results. Blame weakens belief. Responsibility strengthens it. When I own my outcomes, I own my power to change them. That ownership is the foundation of unshakable confidence. I accept that failure may happen. I refuse to let it stop me. Fear says failure is the end. Faith knows it is a lesson. Every failure carries instruction. Every attempt adds experience. The only true loss is quitting. As long as I continue, I am still winning. Faith in self is quiet but firm. It does not need external validation. It does not require approval. It is rooted in self-trust built over time. I do not depend on applause to believe in myself. I depend on my discipline, my effort, and my refusal to give up. Fear tries to keep me safe. Faith pushes me to grow. Safety creates stagnation. Growth requires risk. I choose growth. Comfort has never created greatness. Challenge does. And faith gives me the courage to step into challenge willingly. There will be moments when doubt returns. I do not panic when it does. I remind myself of what I have already survived. I look at the evidence of my resilience. Faith is not blind. It is supported by experience. I have faced hard days before, and I am still here. That truth is power. I speak to myself with authority. Words shape belief. I do not entertain negative self-talk. I replace it with deliberate certainty. What I repeatedly tell myself becomes my inner reality, and my inner reality dictates my outer results. Faith also means patience with myself. Growth is not instant. Progress is not always visible. Fear demands immediate proof. Faith understands timing. I stay consistent even when results are slow because I trust the process I am following. I do not run from fear. I walk through it with belief leading the way. Fear may be present, but it will not be in control. I decide, I act, I learn, I move forward again. Faith in self must be stronger than fear of failure because fear tries to protect the past and faith builds the future. And I am committed to the future. I am creating disciplined daily actions, and destiny follows, because destiny is not decided by dramatic moments, but by the quiet choices repeated every single day. What I do consistently becomes who I am eventually. There is no mystery behind success. There is only routine, commitment, and the willingness to do what must be done long after excitement fades. Discipline is the bridge between intention and outcome. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. It does not ask how I feel. It asks what needs to be done. When I obey discipline, progress becomes inevitable. When I ignore it, potential stays unrealized. I choose obedience to my own standards every day as a vote for my future. Small actions seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound with ruthless accuracy. One disciplined hour today builds momentum for tomorrow. One lazy decision today delays everything. Discipline understands cause and effect better than hope ever could. I do not wait for perfect conditions. Discipline creates consistency even in chaos. When the mind is tired, discipline carries the body. When enthusiasm disappears, discipline keeps the process alive. That is why disciplined people always outperform those who rely on inspiration alone. Discipline is uncomfortable, but regret is heavier. Temporary discomfort builds permanent strength. Avoiding discomfort builds permanent weakness. I choose discomfort with purpose. Each disciplined action strengthens my identity as someone who follows through. There is freedom in discipline. Chaos feels exciting, but it steals control. Discipline gives structure. Structure gives clarity. Clarity gives speed. When my days are disciplined, my mind is calm and my direction is clear. I am no longer negotiating with myself. I am executing. I hold myself accountable, even when no one is watching. Discipline behind closed doors creates confidence in public. I do not need external pressure to perform. My standards are enough. I do what I said I would do, because my word to myself matters. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It means I value my future more than my comfort. It means I am willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term power. Every time I choose discipline, I reinforce that belief. Progress does not require perfection. It requires consistency. Discipline allows me to move forward even on imperfect days. I show up, I do the work, I improve slightly. Over time, those small improvements separate me from those who quit. Destiny is shaped quietly. It is built in early mornings, focused hours, and repeated effort. No one sees destiny forming in real time, but it is happening. Discipline leaves a trail of evidence. Results do not lie. I do not chase outcomes. I chase execution. Outcomes are a byproduct of disciplined action. When I focus on what I can control, my effort, my habits, my standards, results align naturally. Destiny follows action, not intention. Discipline also trains the mind. It builds self-trust. Each completed task proves reliability. That self-trust becomes confidence. Confidence fuels bolder action, and the cycle continues upward. I am not waiting for destiny to find me. I am creating it deliberately. Every disciplined day narrows the gap between who I am and who I am becoming. I am patient because discipline works on a schedule that cannot be rushed. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. I accept that. Those days matter most. Anyone can perform when it feels easy. Discipline proves itself when it feels hard. That is where character is built. Disciplined daily actions and destiny follows. I do not chase fate. I build it one controlled decision at a time. Thoughts shape reality. Control them ruthlessly because the mind is the battlefield where victories and defeats are first decided. Every action, every word, every outcome begins as a thought. If my mind is scattered, weak, or negative, my reality mirrors that chaos. If my mind is sharp, focused, and relentless, the world bends to follow. Thought is the blueprint, reality is the construction. I guard my mind like a fortress because any breach invites failure. Most people let thoughts run wild. They entertain doubt, replay past mistakes, and imagine worst-case scenarios. That noise becomes their reality. I do not negotiate with negativity. I do not give fear a seat at my table. Every thought that enters my mind must serve me, or it is expelled. Ruthless control over my mental landscape is not optional, it is essential. Thoughts create emotions. Emotions create actions, and actions create outcomes. If I allow destructive thinking, My actions falter and results deteriorate. I do not leave success to chance. I do not hope for circumstances to improve. I shape my mind first, because controlling my inner world ensures control over my outer world. Every great achievement in history began with a single thought controlled with absolute conviction. I watch my thoughts constantly. I refuse to repeat doubt or insecurity. I refuse to dwell on what I cannot change. Instead, I choose thoughts that inspire clarity, courage, and persistence. I imagine success in vivid detail so that my actions become natural extensions of that vision. I rehearse the steps in my mind until execution feels inevitable. Thought becomes habit, and habit becomes reality. Discipline of thought is not passive, it is active, deliberate, and sometimes uncomfortable. I reject mental laziness. I refuse idle worry. I do not allow fear to creep in disguised as practicality. Every thought that weakens me is challenged immediately. I replace it with strategy, conviction, and unwavering focus. This is how the mind becomes a weapon rather than a liability. Most people blame circumstances for their failures. I do not. Circumstances are neutral. The difference lies in perception, which begins in thought. When I control what I think about every challenge, every opportunity, every obstacle, I control the outcome. My mind becomes a filter that amplifies possibility and eliminates distraction. Reality bends in response. I cultivate thought with precision. I imagine solutions before they exist. I anticipate setbacks and rehearse responses. I visualize the exact actions I must take to win. My mental rehearsal is ruthless because the world rewards those who prepare in silence before performing in public. Thought precedes action. Excellence begins inside the mind. Negative thoughts are like weeds. If ignored, they overtake the garden of the mind. I remove them immediately. Self-doubt, fear, and complaint have no home in my consciousness. I do not argue with them. I do not negotiate. I replace them with purpose, clarity, and vision. Control is maintained not through avoidance, but through deliberate substitution. Thoughts determine my belief. Belief determines my action. Action determines results. If I allow weak or fearful thinking, my belief falters, my actions lose intensity, and failure becomes inevitable. I choose thoughts that expand my belief, that demand action, and that refuse compromise. Control over thought is control over destiny itself. I also understand that thought must be consistent. Occasional focus is worthless. Sporadic imagination does not build reality. Daily, relentless control over what I think, what I allow to linger, what I feed, what I ignore, is the foundation of mastery. Consistency of thought produces unstoppable momentum of action, and momentum shapes outcomes faster than talent or luck ever could. Thoughts are not private. They are the architects of my world. Every victory begins in the mind long before it appears in reality. I shape them intentionally, protect them aggressively, and cultivate them without mercy. Weak thoughts are lethal. Strong thoughts are weapons. I choose my weapons carefully. When fear or doubt arises, I do not let it fester. I dissect it, expose its weakness, and replace it with action-oriented thought. I rehearse, encourage strength and persistence until they become second nature. My mind does not wander into indecision. It marches purposefully toward the goal. I also understand timing. The mind must focus on what is actionable, not what is hypothetical. Thought must be aligned with action. Planning without execution is wasted energy. Contemplation without discipline is fantasy. I think strategically, relentlessly, and with a clarity that leaves no space for hesitation. Thoughts shape reality. Control them ruthlessly. I will not allow fear to dictate my moves. I will not allow doubt to weaken my choices. I will not allow scattered thinking to slow my progress. Every thought is a command. Every idea is a strategy. Every vision is a target. And my mind is the weapon that ensures my victory is inevitable. Winning is first a mental victory, then a physical one, because every triumph begins in the mind long before it manifests in the world. The body follows the mind. Strength follows belief. Action follows conviction. Those who fail physically often fail mentally first. They hesitate, they doubt, they waver. I do not. I conquer the mental battlefield before the first challenge appears, and by the time the world tests me, I am already unstoppable. Victory is planned internally before it is executed externally. I visualize the obstacles, anticipate the resistance, and rehearse the solutions over and over in my mind. I see the target, I see the path, and I see myself achieving it. That mental rehearsal sharpens strategy, builds confidence, and neutralizes fear. By the time action is required, doubt has no authority, hesitation has no power, and failure has no appeal. Most people wait to feel ready before they act. That is why they fail. Mental victory is not waiting to feel ready, it is creating readiness by belief, preparation, and unshakable certainty. I do not ask for perfect conditions. I do not wait for motivation to arrive. I decide, I plan, I train my mind, and the body aligns automatically. By the time the moment comes, I am already victorious inside, and the external world cannot defeat me. Mental victory demands clarity and focus. I am ruthless about where I place my attention. I do not entertain distractions, excuses, or complaints. Every thought, every word, every inner conversation is aligned with success. Weak or scattered thinking produces weak results. Only mental discipline produces unstoppable action. My mind becomes a weapon, aimed with precision at the outcome I demand. Challenges are inevitable. Obstacles appear, resistance mounts, and pressure intensifies. Mental victory allows me to see these not as threats, but as opportunities. I remain calm, confident, and strategic. Fear cannot penetrate a mind that has already claimed victory internally. Doubt cannot infiltrate a mind that has rehearsed solutions and visualized success repeatedly. Mental victory shields me from chaos and empowers decisive action. I also understand that mental victory requires persistence. It is not won once and forgotten. Every day I renew it. Every setback is met with recalibration, not resignation. Every criticism, every failure, every delay is an opportunity to strengthen belief and reinforce focus. The mind must be constantly trained and defended, because the moment it relaxes is the moment the body loses. Physical action without mental preparation is wasted energy. Many people move frantically, exhaust themselves, and achieve little. I act with precision because the plan has already been mapped in my mind. I do not need luck to guide me. I need clarity and determination. My moves are deliberate, my timing is exact, and my results reflect the preparation done long before I stepped into action. Mental victory also builds resilience. When the world pushes back, when others doubt, when failure appears inevitable, a mind already victorious internally does not bend. It absorbs the pressure, recalibrates, and executes. Those who have not conquered fear mentally collapse physically. Those who have conquered fear mentally expand capacity physically. Strength is the natural extension of belief. I never underestimate the power of visualization. I see not just the win, but the path to the win. I anticipate challenges, rehearse responses, and internalize success so deeply that the mind accepts no alternative. By the time I confront reality, it is already aligned with the outcome my mind has rehearsed. Physical victory is only a confirmation of what has already been decided internally. Discipline and focus feed mental victory. I act daily, even when motivation is absent, even when circumstances are difficult. Mental victory is cumulative. Each controlled thought, each deliberate action, each conquered doubt compounds over time. It creates a foundation so strong that external forces cannot shake it. When the moment of physical action comes, the body does not falter. The mind has paved the way for unassailable dominance. I understand that winning is never first measured by applause, medals, or recognition. Those are external validations. The first victory is internal, the mind refusing to quit, refusing to waver, refusing to doubt. Every champion I admire, every person who has achieved greatness, first won the battle inside. That is why external success always seems inevitable for them. Winning is first a mental victory, then a physical one. I do not wait for circumstances, luck, or approval. I create the victory internally. I rehearse it, I own it, I defend it relentlessly. By the time the world tests me, I have already won. My actions flow effortlessly, my decisions are sharp, and my results are unstoppable. Mind first, body second, victory inevitable. And now I stand here, not because the path was easy, not because the world was fair, but because I decided to refuse doubt, embrace desire, focus relentlessly, persist through every setback, believe in myself stronger than any fear, discipline my daily act. Ions, control my thoughts ruthlessly, and claim victory mentally before it manifests physically. Winning is not luck. Winning is not talent. Winning is a choice, a habit, a relentless refusal to quit. Every obstacle I face, every challenge I meet, every failure I endure becomes fuel sharpened by my will and transformed into momentum. I am not waiting for permission, I am not seeking comfort, and I am not hesitating for approval. I move forward with absolute certainty because I know this truth: the person who conquers themselves first, who dominates their mind, who refuses to surrender, this person cannot be stopped. I will win. And nothing in this world has the power to take that from me.